Hey there. Hey, do you ever wake up in the morning and quietly wish to yourself that your life was somehow different? Like that you were doing something different or on a different path? I think a lot of people do that. They don't talk about it much, but I think it's pretty common. And I know it happened to me because 10 years ago I woke up in a great career, in a great life, making pretty good money. Everything on the outside was great, but on the inside of me, there was something that was nagging at me. I really couldn't put words to it. And it finally got to the point that I realized that I needed to make a change. And maybe it was a midlife crisis. I call it a midlife blessing. But I quit that job and I started my own business. And I also did an important thing, and I hired a coach. And my coach, he came in and he taught me like a brand new way to plan my life. And I like to live my life on purpose. And I had never done that before. I was 45 years old with an engineering degree and an MBA, and I've been at a corporate job for 20 years and was married and had 3 kids and all the stuff that you have in modern American life. But I wasn't living my life on purpose. I couldn't tell anybody where I was going to go into the future. Or, I don't know, I wasn't. So I learned how to do that 10 years ago when I was 45, 46 years old. And over the past decade, I've continued to adjust and tweak and change a bit. That whole process of how I live my life on purpose. And it's amazing how big a difference that made in my life. And so now, here's what's going on with me. I'm full-time coaching and certified as a high-performance coach, and some people call that a life coach, but that's what my living is I coach other people. I'm also getting my PhD in psychology, which at 56 years old I'm probably the oldest guy in my class, but I'm getting it with as much as I can, learning around positive psychology and around coaching psychology and around evidence-based goal-setting theory and other things that help in this work that I do. And the third thing, I'm transitioning out of a recruiting company that I've had for the past 10 years. But what I'm so excited about is I'm able to help people who are like the person I was 10 years ago. And I see them everywhere. You know, people that are successful on the outside, whether they work in a corporation or they're an entrepreneur, they own their own business, but their lives are fine. So I'll call this a fine life. But they've got a dream. They have a dream of something bigger or more. Like they can give more, or they can make a bigger impact on the world. But they're right here, and they're feeling stuck, and they're feeling urgency build because every day is another day gone, and eventually it's going to be over. So I help people go from wherever they are to where they want to go. And that may sound overly simple, but there's a ton of reasons why people can't do that or they don't do that by themselves. And what I've learned partially through what I learned from my life coach, Dr. Tom Hill, and then through a lot of other people, Dr. Martin Seligman and certified high performance coaching training, and what I'm doing through Capella and my PhD program, is there's a whole lot of information and processes and applications and things that can be done to change our mindsets and to change how we move from this average life to a much better life. A couple of things. One is to be crystal clear on what our priorities are. And everybody's priorities are different. There's no right or wrong set, but you need to know what your priorities are. And then, I believe, try to get each of your priorities in relative balance. I'm drawing a circle, but one of the things I do with my coaching clients is we draw a wheel with spokes, and we measure how we're doing on our priorities and connect the dots. And a balanced life will have the dots connected in a way that it's kind of like a circle. But more important than balance, or as important as balance, is a commitment to continuing to grow in each of your priority areas. For example, my spirituality, my faith as a Christian, is my highest priority. And I'm committed to growing in that till I die. So I can do things, I can set habits around how I nurture my spirituality to get better and better and better at that. My second priority in my life is my physical health. And so there are a lot of things I can do to get healthier. But for me, the third priority in my life are all my relationships, whether it's my wife, my children, my friends, my colleagues. And there are things I can do to improve in that part of my life. Number 4 for me is my emotional health, my ability to think clearly. 5th is a combination of my work and continuing to learn. And last for me is financial, because I believe if you're doing great in the other areas of life, then the financial bit, it'll just happen because you're so healthy and so valuable in the marketplace. So anyway, those are my priorities. Yours might be different, but a commitment to balance and growth on your priority set is, I think, huge to move from here to here. But another thing that we've found through lots of research is that high-performing people, and by the way, high-performing people are by definition the top 10 or 15% of the population. So most people are not going to be high-performing, and they're not going to have any interest in being high-performing. And we know these people, they're everywhere. They're just okay with being okay. But there are some people who know that they can do more, and they want to be more. They want to serve more. And to go from okay to more takes change, a lot of change, and change in specific areas. So one area that we really work on change in is a whole area called clarity. And clarity is knowing who you are and where you're going. So we dive deep into that. And high-performing people, they wake up every day knowing who they are and where they're going in their lives. The second thing high-performing people have that's different than everybody else, they understand how important energy is to their behavior and to their actions, and that they nurture their one and only physical body, and they nurture their one and only physical brain with the right foods and the right sleep and the right exercise, so that two things, you wake up every day with a lot of energy, and you go the long run, that you live to ripe old age instead of dying of a chronic illness tomorrow. The third thing that high-performing people have that's different than the rest of the population is they're incredibly courageous. They don't live in a world without fear. They have fear. I have fear. But a courageous person will go do it anyway. Whatever it is they're afraid of, they'll step through it, and they'll do it. And they'll keep raising their own bar of what they'll do courageously, even though they're afraid of it. A fourth thing that high-performing people have that's different than everybody else is they're incredibly productive. Like, they wake up every day with a plan for their day to go do things, and not just do trivial things, but to do the important, game-changing things that will advance their mission in life as they move from wherever they are to this place they want to go. And I'm getting ready to write a book called Busy is Bad, but I see people all the time, and you know them too, that they're kind of proud of how busy they are. But when you get inside of what it is, they're just busy answering emails or text messages or phone calls or just constant trivial stuff, and they're not moving the needle at all in their life or in their work or whatever it is that's important to them. So we got to be able to get rid of all the busy work and focus on the important work and be productive with that. And the fifth area where high-performing people are different than everybody else is a whole area of influence and persuasion. And I don't mean that in a negative way. To be a good leader, to be a good parent, to be good in a nonprofit or a company, if you're in any kind of leadership role, you've got to be influential. And influential requires interpersonal skills and communication skills and intention around how to lead people, and all that is developable. Is that a word? All of that can be developed. And high-performing people put in the effort to develop their influence skills at a higher level than other people. So, I have seen this work over and over and over, where people that are successful and healthy and doing okay, but they feel stuck, that we work together and we incrementally get them moving into some momentum on a pathway towards a better future. And that's what I do. I help people move from this life to a better life through all these, it's a holistic, humanistic, evidence-based, a lot of science behind it, but tailored specifically to each individual, high-performance coaching approach. So, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then I would love to talk to you, and I'm totally happy to have a free coaching consultation, whether in person or on the phone or on video, and just find out if this could work for you. So the way to start that is, there's a button below this video. Click that button. It'll take you to a page where you can enter some information. I'll get that. We'll be in touch with you. We'll line up a call and we'll see where it goes. The worst thing that could happen is we get to know each other and we become friends. That's not a bad deal. So I hope to hear from you, and until then, take care.